Wrestling has always had a strict backstage code, and when that code gets broken, there's usually a price to pay. In 2004, Rene Dupree had to learn this the hard way when he stepped into the ring with Hardcore Holly, an unforgiving veteran with a reputation for being tough as nails. What should have been a standard match turned into a painful reality check for the young Dupree. Rene Dupree was a rising star in WWE, a French-Canadian wrestler with charisma and a strong push. He was part of the tag team La Resistance and had plenty of potential. But behind the scenes, he made a mistake that put him in hot water with the locker room, specifically with Hardcore Holly. The incident started when Dupree borrowed Holly's rental car without permission and got a speeding ticket under Holly's name. To make matters worse, Dupree didn't take responsibility, leaving Holly to deal with the legal consequences. In the world of wrestling, where respect and accountability are everything, this didn't sit well. Holly was known for being old school. He had no problem roughing up younger wrestlers who he felt didn't show proper respect. And with no apology from Dupree, Holly decided to handle things in his own way in the ring. What was supposed to be a routine match on a WWE live event quickly became a one-sided beatdown. Holly, visibly angry, started laying in stiff shots, real punches and kicks that went beyond the usual scripted strikes. He chopped Dupree's chest red, clubbed him with forearms, and even busted him open the hard way, which meant there was no blade job, just real damage. At one point, Holly slammed Dupree down and stomped his head with legitimate force, making it clear this wasn't just about putting on a show, it was about making a statement. Fans in attendance could tell something wasn't right, and even the referee seemed unsure how to handle the situation. Backstage, there were mixed reactions. Some wrestlers felt Holly went a bit far, while others believed Dupree had it coming for disrespecting locker room etiquette. Dupree never got a major push after the incident, and his WWE run eventually fizzled out. As for Holly, his reputation as a no-nonsense enforcer only grew. This wasn't the first time a veteran wrestler had taken liberties with a younger performer, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. The wrestling business has evolved since then, and these days, such behavior is far less tolerated. But for those who were around during the ruthless aggression era, this match remains a stark reminder that in wrestling, respect is earned, and when it isn't given, there can be painful consequences. Next up, one of my favorites, real hard ruthless aggression, but set in the modern PG era. In pro wrestling, accidents happen. Sometimes a punch lands a little hard, or a move gets a little stiff. But if there's one guy you don't want to accidentally hit too hard, it's Brock Lesnar. In 2018 at the Royal Rumble, Braun Strowman learned that the hard way when he got a little too aggressive, and Brock reminded him who the real alpha was. At the time, both Lesnar and Strowman were booked as unstoppable forces. Lesnar was the reigning Universal Champion, a legitimate MMA-trained powerhouse, while Strowman was being pushed as a dominant monster. The WWE wanted them to collide in a way that felt like the Titans clashing. But sometimes, things get a little too real. During their match at the 2018 Royal Rumble event, Strowman threw a knee strike at Lesnar's head. But instead of a light, controlled strike, he blasted Brock full force. You could see it on Lesnar's face immediately. He was not happy. Brock doesn't do warnings, he does reactions, and his reaction? A legit right-hand punch straight to Strowman's head, followed by another. Not a work punch, a real one. Strowman's knees nearly buckled, and you could tell he was rocked. Lesnar then barked, "Slow the fuck down," just to drive the message home. Strowman, to his credit, got the message. The match continued, but you could tell Strowman was a little more cautious after that. He didn't push the pace too much, and he made sure to keep things under control. The two finished the match professionally, but the moment became one of those infamous "did that just happen?" incidents that fans still talk about. Backstage, there weren't any major issues. Lesnar didn't hold a grudge, and Strowman knew he messed up. But this moment proved something. Even in a scripted environment, there are rules. And when you break them, guys like Lesnar will remind you in the most painful way possible. This wasn't a career ender for Strowman, but it was a wake-up call. It showed that in wrestling, even the biggest guys need to be precise and controlled. For Lesnar, it was just another day at the office. A reminder that if you're going to bring the fight to him, you'd better be ready to handle the consequences. Next up, it's number 45 on our top 50 shoots. In the summer of 1998, WWF introduced a concept that would become one of the most infamous failed experiments in wrestling history, the Brawl for All. What was meant to be a unique, reality-based tournament designed to showcase toughness instead became a reckless, career-damaging disaster that left multiple wrestlers injured in a roster full of resentment. The idea stemmed from a backstage argument. WWE writer Vince Russo believed that many of the company's so-called tough guys wouldn't last in a real fight, particularly Bradshaw, who frequently boasted about his toughness. Russo pitched the idea of a legitimate shoot-fighting tournament where wrestlers would engage in real boxing matches with takedowns allowed. Vince McMahon approved it, thinking it would create compelling television. The tournament featured 16 WWE wrestlers, most of whom had little to no legitimate fighting experience. The fights were unscripted, with real punches, knockouts, and injuries occurring in the ring. Participants included notable names such as Bradshaw, Steve Williams, Bart Gunn, and The Godfather, among others. From the start, it became clear that the tournament was a mistake. Wrestlers who were used to working together in scripted matches were now genuinely fighting, leading to brutal injuries. Some fights were slow and sloppy, while others ended in shocking knockouts. The biggest upset of the tournament came when Bart Gunn, a mid-card wrestler not expected to win, knocked out the heavily favored Dr. Death Steve Williams. WWE had reportedly planned for Williams to win and be pushed as a legitimate tough guy, but Gunn's unexpected victory ruined those plans. Williams suffered a serious injury, further derailing the tournament's original intent. By the end of the tournament, Bart Gunn emerged as the winner. However, instead of receiving a major push, WWE seemed unsure of what to do with him. As a supposed reward, Gunn was booked to face professional boxer Butterbean in a legitimate fight at WrestleMania 15. The result was disastrous. Butterbean knocked out Gunn in under a minute, effectively ending any momentum he had. Meanwhile, several wrestlers suffered serious injuries, including concussions and torn muscles. The tournament shortened careers, left a lot of bitterness among the roster, and failed to bring the ratings boost WWE had hoped for. Vince Russo later admitted that the Brawl for All was one of his biggest regrets, and WWE never attempted anything like it again. The Brawl for All remains a cautionary tale in professional wrestling history, a lesson in why real fighting and scripted entertainment don't mix. It's remembered not for making stars, but for ending careers and proving that just because something looks good on paper doesn't mean it will work in practice. Well, that's all we've got time for today, and a big thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. See you in the next video.